Start with the great name of Allah, who is most kind and most merciful. To all the listeners, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Abdullah Tunyu. I am a student of BBA from Sindhu University campus, Ladkanam. The purpose of recording this video is that I am going to present a few presentations as part of my final term examination assigned by Sir Tokir Hussain. Topics of presentation: number 1 topic, 7 C's of communication; number 2, essay writing; number 3, effective presentation skills; and number 4, report writing. These 4 are the topics which I am going to present in front of you. The first topic of my presentation today is 7 C's of communication. So let's discuss this topic. Key points of my presentation: what is communication, benefits of effective communication, and 7 C's of communication. We will define 7 C's of communication one by one, inshallah. What is communication? To understand the effective communication skills, you must understand what is actually communication. Well, the imparting or exchanging of information by speaking, writing, or using some other medium is communication. Communication is absolutely necessary when building relationships, sharing ideas, delegating responsibilities, managing a team, and much more. Furthermore, communication is a Latin word which means to share. It is the sharing of information between different individuals. It includes the sharing of ideas, concepts, imaginations, behaviors, and written content. Communication is simply defined as the transfer of information from one place to another. This transfer of information can be conducted in different ways. As you can see, types of communication: the first one is verbal communication, then non-verbal, then written, then visual communication. Coming to the first type of communication, which is verbal communication. It is the use of language to transfer information through speaking or sign language. It is one of the most common types, often used during presentations, video conferences, and phone calls, meetings, one-on-one conversations. Verbal communication is important because it is efficient. It can be helpful to support verbal communication with both non-verbal and written communication. Coming to the second type of communication, which is non-verbal communication. Well, non-verbal communication is the use of body language, gestures, and facial expressions to convey information to others. It can be used both intentionally and unintentionally. When you hear a pleasing or enjoyable idea or piece of information, non-verbal communication is helpful when trying to understand others' thoughts and feelings. Coming to the third type of communication, which is written communication. Well, it is the act of writing, typing, or printing symbols like letters and numbers to convey information. It is helpful because it provides a record of information for reference. Writing is commonly used to share information through books, pamphlets, blogs, letters, memos, and more. Emails and chats are a common form of written communication in the workplace. Coming to the fourth type of communication, which is visual communication. Well, it is the act of using photographs, arts, drawings, sketches, charts, and graphs to convey information. Visuals are often used as an aid during presentations to provide helpful context alongside written and or verbal communication. 7 C's of communication. So these are the 7 C's of communication. For the first one is completeness, then correctness, then courtesy, then correctness, then on the fifth number, clarity, then consideration, then conciseness. So let us discuss all these C's in detail. The first one is completeness. Well, the message must be completed and geared to receiver's perception of the world. The message must be based on facts, and a complex message needs additional information and or explanation. For example, you are sending a reminder about a meeting. Be specific. Include details of location, time, and purpose, and ask people to respond. So features of this C: no crucial information is missing, gives additional information, leaves no question. This is the first C of communication, which you must adopt to have an effective presentation. Second C of communication, which is concreteness. Well, concrete communication implies being particular and clear rather than fuzzy and general. Concreteness strengthens the confidence. Concrete communication is also about clear message. This is often supported by factual material such as research, data, and figures. The words used as well as sentence structure can be interpreted univocally. Nothing is left to the imagination. And the features: it is supported with the specific facts and figures. use of words that are clear and that build reputation. Coming to the third C of communication, which is courtesy. Well, courtesy in message implies that a message should show the sender's expressions as well as should respect the receiver. The sender should be sincere, polite, and reflective. Well, the uh, uh, courtesy communication is friendly, open, and honest. There are no hidden insults or passive aggressive tones. You keep your reader's point of view in mind, and you are empathetic to their needs. And the features of this C use terms showing respect. Message is positive and focused at the audience. To have an effective communication, you must adopt courtesy in your communication. Well, then comes correctness. Use of proper grammar, punctuation, and spellings. Double check for mistakes. When your communication is correct, it fits your audience. And correct communication is also, you can say error-free communication. The features of this type of communication: the message is exact, correct, and well-timed. The correct information boosts the confidence level. Correct messages has impact on the audience and as well as the readers. Then comes clarity. Well, when you are writing or speaking to someone, be clear about what your goal is, what your message is. Make sure that it's very easy for your reader to understand your meaning. People shouldn't have to read about the lines and make assumptions on their own to understand that you are trying to say this or that. Information and actions required must be clear so the reader has the information they need to take action. To be clear, try to minimize the number of ideas in each sentence. Well, it makes understanding easier. Clarity of thoughts and ideas enhances the meaning. So when you are communicating with someone, when you are performing communication, when you are sharing your information to someone, you need to make sure you are clear about your message. Your message is minimized and it's clear. That's it. So consideration. Well, it implies stepping into the shoes of others. Well, communicating with the target group consideration. In order to communicate well, it is important to relate to the target group and be involved. By taking audience into account, the message can be geared towards them. Well, take note of the audience viewpoints, background, mindset, education level, etc. By taking the audience into account, the message can be geared towards them. Factors that play a role in this are, for example, professional knowledge, level of education, age, and interest. So it emphasizes on your approach. It shows optimism towards audience. Well, it's the future of this communication type. Then comes the conciseness. Well, it means wordiness, communication what you want to convey in least possible words. When you are concise in your communication, you stick to the point and keep in brief. Your audience doesn't want to read 6 sentences when you could communicate in short. So you must have conciseness in your communication. It is both time saving as well as cost saving. It underlines and highlights the main message. So conciseness is very important in communication. To have an effective communication skill, you must adopt conciseness in your communication. Well, thank you. This was my first presentation. So the second topic of my presentation today is essay writing. Let's discuss this topic. Content, what is an essay, types of essays, and how to write an essay. These will be the points to be considered. So first of all, what is an essay? Well, an essay is a short formal piece of writing dealing with a single subject. It is typically written to try to persuade the reader using selected research evidence. In general, a formal essay is at least 5 paragraphs long with contain an introduction, body parts, and a conclusion. Well, the essay is a written piece that is designed to present an idea, propose an argument, expression, the emotion, or initiate debate. Essay is written composition giving expressions to one's own personal ideas or opinions on some topic, but the term usually covers also any written composition whether it expresses personal opinion or gives information on any given subject or details of a narrative or description. Well, types of essays. The first step to writing an essay is to define what type of essay you are writing. There are four main categories into which essays can be grouped. Number one is narrative essay, and then persuasive essay, then expository essay, then descriptive essay. What is narrative essay? It tells a story or imparts information about your subject in a straightforward or orderly manner, like in a story. Then persuasive essay, well, it convinces the readers about some point of view. Then expository essay, it explains to the reader how to do a given process. You could, for example, write an expository essay with step-by-step instructions on how to make a peanut butter sandwich. Then descriptive essay, it focuses on the details of what is going on. For example, if you want to write a descriptive essay about your trip to the park, you would give great detail about what you experienced, how the grass felt uh, beneath your feet, what the park benches looked like, and anything else the reader would need to feel as if he was there. Then comes how to uh, write an essay. Well, an essay model is a theoretical framework that can be used as the structural basis of all essay types. The model has three structural components. The first one is an introduction paragraph, then a middle paragraph, then a conclusion paragraph. Well, an introductory paragraph that introduces the essay's thesis or big idea. Then middle paragraphs that support the thesis and convince the reader of its validity. Then a concluding paragraph that restates the thesis and draws together the threads of the argument presented in the essay. The introductory part. Introduction has mainly three parts. The hood or dramatic opener. Well, a hood or dramatic opener consists of several sentences that pull the reader into essay. Then transitional sentences connect the hook to the thesis statement. They are vital devices for essays. They impress connections and transitions between sentences and paragraphs. Thus, they give the text a logical organization and structure. Then comes the thesis statement. Thesis statement is one or two sentences that states the idea of the essay. Then middle paragraph, they make the body of your work. They develop the main idea of your essay. Paragraphs contain following sentences: topic sentence, detailed sentence, concluding, transitional sentences. Well, they make body of your work. They develop the main idea of your essay. To connect your supporting paragraphs, you should use special transition words. Transition words link your paragraphs together and make your essay easier to read. Use them at the beginning and end your paragraphs. Coming to the topic sentence, uh, this sentence tells the reader what the paragraph is going to be about. Then detailed sentence, your paragraph can have many detailed sentences. The detailed sentences tell your reader a little more about your topic. Each topic sentence must include an example. Then coming to the last, concluding or transitional sentences. Well, these sentences wrap up what you have already told the readers and gets them ready for the next paragraph. Then the last part of how to write an essay is conclusion paragraph. Well, this part contains conclusion and findings, proves that the theme announced at the beginning of the essay is fully disclosed. Concluding paragraph has two parts. One is summary statement and then clincher. The summary statement is one or two sentences which restates thesis in a fresh way to reinforce the essay's main idea, and clincher is a final thought which should create a lasting impression on the reader. It is also referred to as the closer, is your last opportunity to connect with the reader. Well, thank you. This was my second presentation of today. Coming to the third topic of my presentation today, which is effective presentation skills. Let us discuss this topic briefly. Content, what is presentation, how to make presentation effective, and effective presentation skills. What is a presentation? A presentation is a means of communication which can be adopted to various speaking situations, such as talking to a group, addressing a meeting, or briefing a team. Steps to make presentation effective. The first one is planning. You must plan when and where will you deliver your presentation. Will the presentation be within a formal or less formal setting? Will the presentation be to a small group or large group? Are you already familiar with the audience? What is audience expecting to learn from your presentation? Then comes preparation, assembling your best material. Well, you would have the opportunity to understand your content before giving a presentation. However, sometimes we must present on topics outside of our comfort zone. In this case, you take time to research everything you can get about your topic and what are you going to discuss. Content is critical in making your presentation a meaningful use of time. Then practice your presentation. Your presentation should be practiced in front of a mirror or on a camera, for better yet given to colleagues, friends, or family members who will give you clear and actionable feedback. Then be positive. Developing a positive attitude over the days leading up to the presentation. This may seem obvious and easier said than done. If you are shy, but pull it off, and it will make a huge difference to how you perform. Acknowledge your nervousness, but don't give in to the negative thinking. Concentrate it by telling yourself, yes, I am nervous, but I can do this. Listen to yourself. It's a good idea when presenting. Talk without hesitation, and don't use filler words like or watch the time. Make sure your presentation isn't going for too long. Then comes delivery. Once you have assembled your information, you can get started on outlining your presentation. A presentation must start with a solid introduction that grabs the audience attention. Include the basics of introducing yourself. You can say something like, I am Abdullah from Larkana and I would like to address your company, like that. Start your presentation with a solid introduction. Show your passion and connect with your audience. It's hard to be relaxed and be yourself when you are nervous, but time and again the great presenters say that the most important thing is to connect with your audience. Focus on your audience need. Keep it smile. Your presentation needs to be built around what your audience is going to get out of of your presentation. As you, as you prepare the presentation, you always need to bear in mind what the audience needs and wants to know, not what you can tell them. And keep smiling while you are giving presentation. This sounds very easy, but a surprisingly large number of presenters fail to do it. If you smile and make eye contact, you are building rapport, which helps the audience to connect with you and your subject. Then keep telling stories. Well, humans are programmed to respond to stories. Stories help us to pay attention and also to remember things. If you can use stories in your presentation, your audience is more likely to engage, to remember your points afterwards. Well, thank you. This was it from my this topic of presentation. My last and final topic of presentation today is report writing. Let's discuss this topic. Uh, Content, what is report, why do we write a report, and how to write a report. Well, to understand the report writing and its structure, you must understand what is actually a report. Well, it is a formal style of writing, an introduction, a body, and a conclusion, analytical thinking, extensive research for information and evidence to support a conclusion, careful proofreading, and neat presentation. This is called report. The tone of report is always formal. The important section to focus on is the target audience. For example, report writing about a school event, report writing about a business case, etc. Why do we write a report? Well, reports generally involve presenting your investigation and analysis for information for an issue, recommending actions, and making proposals. A document containing information organized in a narrative, graphic, or tabular form, prepared on ad hoc, periodic form, recurring, regular, or as required basis, are to provide information. Then, report writing. The structure of a report I have mentioned. The first comes title page. The title includes the name of the author and the date of the preparation. As you can see, I have mentioned an example as well. The title page includes the name and the date. Then second part of structure of the report, which is summary. The summary should briefly describe the content of the report. It should cover the aims of the report, what was found, and what, if any, action is called for. Aim for about 1 or 2 page in length and avoid detail or discussion. Just outline the main points. Remember that the summary is the first thing that is read. It should provide the reader with a clear, helpful overview of the content of the report. Then comes content, table of contents. The contents page should list the different chapters or headings together with the page number. Your content page should be presented in such a way that reader can quickly scan the list of headings and locate particular part of the report. Then introduction. Well, the introduction sets the scene for the main body of the report. The aims and objectives of the report should be explained in detail. Any problems or limitations in the scope of the report should be identified, and the description of research methods and any necessary background history should be included. Then body of the report. This is the main section of the report. There needs to be several sections with each having a subtitle. Information is usually arranged in order of importance, with the most important information coming first. Then comes conclusion. Well, in the conclusion, you should show the overall significance of what has been covered. You may want to remind the reader of the most important points that have been made in the report, or highlight what you have considered to be the most central issues or findings. However, no new material should be introduced in the conclusion. Then recommendations. This is what needs to be done in plain English. Explain your recommendations, putting them in order of priority. Well, thank you. This was it from my last presentation. I'm very thankful to all of you for watching my video, and don't forget to ask any question in the comment section. And last, I would like to especially thank Sir Toki Rahman for giving me the opportunity to use YouTube for my academic purpose. Thank you very much, sir. I'm very thankful to you.